Okay, so we are going to do some poster tips and tricks today, and from my home, so can't see it very well because I hid it all. I didn't want anyone to see the messiness. But anyway, we are going to go over what to look for in a poster, how to maybe make a nice poster, and some tips and tricks of the trade, and how we start with making a poster, maybe deciding on what you want to do with your poster. You're not really sure. Maybe it's a project that you've never tried before because we're all at home and maybe we want to try something new, and that's totally okay. I just want to make sure that we all have what we need to be successful when making a poster. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen with you because I made a little posters, tips and tricks, like flyer type thing that you can print off if you want to. But it has all the tips and tricks that I'm going to go over, and then the poster requirements and the tag, and then which ones are required to have like a specific title, or if there's a specific activity that you have to use out of the manual, those are at the bottom. So I want to start with saying when you are going to start your poster to check your exhibit requirements. Like I mentioned, some projects require a specific title. So sport fishing is the best example for me to use because that's the one I know most, I guess, about needing a specific title. So you have to do an activity in the book and then make that title as your poster title. So the activity that's in the book that you're doing, you're going to put it as your title up here. This is soil and water, which also requires the manual activity, but it doesn't require a manual title. So I know that can get a little tricky. So make sure you check exhibit requirements before you make your poster, because you don't want to get, I have an example that shooting sports requires a specific title. So this title isn't correct on this poster. It's a really nice poster, but the title is not correct. So it obviously wouldn't go as far as it could in the exhibit building. So just making sure that you're checking your exhibit requirements first, so you can either decide if you can have a catchy title. If you do a catchy title like this one, this poster, sorry, some of these posters are a little beat up, but this one has carrot practice. So it's about stretching your horse. I know it's really hard to read, but then it has a subtitle underneath that says stretching your horse with a carrot, so that you can better understand what you're going to go into when you're looking at the poster. But again, I can't stress enough that you need to check the requirements to make sure you don't need a specific title, or if you can use a catchy title. I know that you saw one poster that had like a colored background, so I would suggest, and it's just me, if you want to make your poster look way different, you can go to Hobby Lobby or some craft stores, and they have poster boards that are 22 by 28. And then you can make fun colors for your background. So this one is pink because it was consumer meat. So they got a pink poster board, and then they just simply used the foam, if you can see it there, as the backing. So they just slid the pink over the top and then used the foam as the backing part of it. And then you can save a little bit of money and not have to buy foam backing every year. If you just put it on top of the poster board, you can undo that sleeve, pull that pink part off, and then slide a new one back underneath. So it's kind of nice. You can reuse it a couple times if you want to. Sometimes they get a little beat up, especially if they go to state fair. Sometimes they get bent, so you have to buy new foam backing, but good tip that you can always reuse that backing if you need to. Okay, next tip I have is typing out and using text blocks if you can. So instead of actually handwriting, let me find one that has text blocks. So this poster, can't really see that, can you? Has text blocks. It's just on the computer, and I'll show these bigger in a second, but on on the computer. They typed it up, what they did, what they used, and it's all nice and typed, instead of, you might have a third grader that has really sloppy handwriting and they want to try and write it all out. It doesn't look as nice and crisp as it would if it's typed. I will say that if you're doing an activity, like a required activity from the book, I would use, I would handwrite those. So the Consumer Meets one that I had, she did a crossword puzzle and she hand wrote the puzzle in there. We blew it up and then she hand wrote it in. So the activities are kind of nice to be handwritten as long as it's legible, but you might have to help them sometimes with that. She was in 3rd grade when she did this one. And then before you glue anything out, I can't stress this part enough either, because I feel bad when we go to make state fair projects and I have to cover up pictures or something, especially in photography. People do it all the time in photography. But leave room for your exhibit tag. It has to go in the right-hand corner right here. We have like general tags that you can use. So I'm going to share a different screen. And this is Lindsay's highlight. This is your shout out, Lindsay. On our 4-H page, if you go to the youth tab and just press on the youth tab, it'll bring you to this page and it shows you what's under the youth information. This one has literally everything. There's a link to each of these pages. So I usually just go here. It's a one-stop shop then. And then you can figure out what you need. If you need anything else, you can go here. But go to projects for the exhibit tag. And then you can print these out at home and cut them out so you can leave room in the right-hand corner. This is what your exhibit tag would look like. They're the right size. You can just cut them out for them. That way, I don't have to cover up your pretty pictures or something that you've done when I go to redo the state posters. There's also, under the 4-H projects tab, you can find your exhibit guide, and all the poster requirements can be found on this page as well. And it tells you everything that you need for your poster. So it tells you it has to be 22 by 28. It needs to be displayed horizontally, which horizontally is this way. This way is vertically, and they don't fit on our racks. And then it makes it really difficult for the display to look really nice. So always, always, always display your poster horizontally like that. Let's go back to the tip sheet and see if I'm missing anything. And then if not, I will go through some of the posters that I have. Page 3 is also has a checklist of requirements for your poster, so you can check off if you've done it. It's super easy to use. It's on page 3. We inserted that last year into our exhibit guide, so because people would get a little confused about what they needed or what they didn't need for their poster. So we added that. And then there's a shortened checklist at the bottom of this one to display it horizontal, make sure you have your exhibit tag, and references if they're needed. Pretty much the majority of our projects, I would say, to put references, even if it's not required by the project, it's always nice to go back and reference where you found that information. And then you just can put them in the back of your poster, like this one has it. They're just right here in the back. They just put them in there. Super easy. It's not like you have to go and make it look nice on your poster. I would just put them in the back so that they're there. Poster requirements, required exhibit tag. Our exhibit tag, so if you don't want to print them out, it's 2 3/4 and 5.5 inches. So the template, like I said, is on the website. And we will provide those as long as your fair entry is done by July 1st. That doesn't mean to just go in and register your kid in fair entry. That means going in, entering your project into fair entry, putting in the description, and we will print all of those. And then we group them up by family. And then when you come to project check-in, we hand those out to you and you can glue them onto your poster or tape them, however you want to put them on. I again recommend putting them on the outside of your poster. Some people might disagree with me on that, but it's easier for us to stick the sticker on the tag. Then when they go to State Fair, I put them underneath the plastic so it looks a little bit nicer. But I recommend putting them on top just so that when we go and put, I don't think any of these have stickers on them. Oh, this one does. That when we go and put the stickers on, it's not on the plastic then, it'll be on your tag instead. I like it like that. I know it looks nicer under the plastic, but for State Fair, I will put it under the plastic for you. For County Fair, it's so much easier for us to get the stickers off if your tag is on top of the plastic. Because some people want those stickers back and they get really upset with me when I rip them. So I usually just give them new ones. But we try not to rip them. We try to get them off as nicely as we can. So if you put that tag on the top of the plastic, we can get it off a lot easier. And then you have your tag and your ribbon together and you can remember it and put it in your memory book, because memory book's important too. Okay. Posters with required titles or activities. So like I said, I don't know all of these off the top of my head. I know shooting sports requires you to do requires you to do a specific title. So I think you can choose like archery, shotgun maybe. Again, check your requirements. I know that one requires a title. Sport fishing, like I said, I know it requires a title. So there are certain ones that require a title or an activity. I'm trying to think of which one requires just an activity, which might be soil and water. I think that one just requires that you do an activity. You can title it whatever you want, but you have to do an activity out of the book. So I hope that makes sense to anyone. If you have questions, put them in the chat box and I'll answer them all at the end. So that's that part of it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to show you some poster examples that we have and you can see it. Oh, you guys couldn't see that anyway. So good thing I'm going to go back over them. Okay, so going through the poster. Like I said, check your requirements. Make sure whatever title you need is correct. This is soil and water, so the activity is required. Title is not required. So they can name it whatever they want. Sometimes it's easier just to name it whatever the activity was, but it just depends on your preference. So like I said, typing out your text box instead of making it, instead of handwriting it all, unless you're doing an activity that requires you to maybe write it, then okay, I can see that, but try to do the text boxes. They look a little bit nicer, they're a lot cleaner, and it just looks a little bit nicer. So that's that part. The exhibit tag is in the right-hand corner. They've backed some of their pictures with colorful stuff. So it might be on a white poster, but they've added color by backing some of the pictures in some of the text boxes. So this is overall a pretty nice poster. They'd put their jars at the bottom to show that it was 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and 24 hours in this activity. This one is a consumer meat project for swine. I don't know that we have this in Marshall County. These are Lake County posters. I stole them from my cousins and my nieces. So this one is pink. Like I said, you can pick a different color background and then just add the foam backing. And she even cut out a little pig. I think Cassidy might, or Maury, I know he said he would do a cricket demonstration. So she used the cricket to print out her little pig to put on this one. Has a catchy title. And then she did handwrite this activity. And then again, her exhibit tag is in the right-hand corner. And they're all horizontal. This one, again, on a white background, but has some color, has cute little carrots cut out and put on here. They did the text boxes again. Some of these are kind of beat up, sorry. But then it has the catchy title because there was nothing required to put on for this title with the subtitle so people know what this person's actually talking about. Because if I told you I was going to talk about carrot practice, you would have no idea what I meant. So it's about stretching your horse with carrots. Okay, like I said, this one was a shooting sport one. This picture just fell off, but it was there. They put it on bright orange. Remember, shooting sports has a specific title you have to use. So this part, the title on this one is not correct. But overall, it's a pretty nice poster. Something flashy and it catches your eye. Has some backing. Again, they used the Cricut to cut out their rifles, and then the exhibit tag is in the right-hand corner. So if it had the right title, this one would be really nice. This one is for health or child development. And we have this one. Again, a bright colored background, kind of just makes it pop a little bit more. It went over deadly lookalikes. So a catchy title, doesn't really need a subtitle. You kind of know what they're going to talk about already. They backed some of their stuff to kind of help it come out. And then they've attached different things to their poster. They're just in little baggies. So these are fruit snacks and vitamins. And these are Tic Tacs and migraine medicine. So showing that they can look alike. The Skittles got a little melted. But overall, really nice. Again, the county tag is in the corner, right-hand corner, important right-hand corner. And it's horizontal, it's back. This one's not back with foam, this one just has a little bit of cardboard. Okay, and then I have a comment on here about photography, which I saved that one for last because photography is very specific. You can only use specific titles for photography. So you just have to check your level of what level you're in for photography, and it'll tell you what you need to label your poster. So this one is level 1, capturing memories, because it's black and white. I thought I grabbed one that had color pictures, but that one is like adventures in color, I think, for level 1. And then you also have to make sure you label your pictures. So these are labeled 1, 2, 3, etc. So making sure you know how to make them look really nice. Yes, the 10. So 10, 1 through 10. Making sure that you have them all numbered. You have to have 10 pictures for this one. When you get older, you can do the salon prints and it would just be 1 picture, but for the posters, it's 10. You have to have them labeled 1 through 10. Please leave room for your exhibit tag. This is the one that I always get really upset when I have to cover up pictures. So please leave room for that and consider it into your poster when you're making it. Again, horizontal for the posters. Any questions on posters? I feel like I went through quite a few. Any other suggestions? Lindsay said that she couldn't see the website when I shared it, so I'm going to share the website again so you guys can see it, what I was talking about. But while I get that up, does anyone have any questions on posters? Like I said, this is kind of a group that you guys are all really good at your posters, but hopefully you guys can share this with others that might need help with posters. Okay, this is the website. Like I said, if you go to the youth tab, it will bring you it went to all of Purdue. Hang on. If you go to the youth tab for Marshall County, make sure you're on Marshall County. They'll bring you up with 4-H information, 4-H projects, mini 4-H, 4-H general information. If you go to 4-H information, it will take you pretty much anywhere that you need to go. So then, like I said, you can find all of your enrollment information. You can find a club. We have that new parent guide is super helpful for new parents. All of our Thursday emails are here, our exhibit guide, all of our Clover chatters. But for this webinar, I was specifically going to the projects because then it has all the projects listed. It has the poster requirements, which I opened, and it opens into a PDF and it shows you exactly what you're looking for in the poster. So it has to be displayed, the stiff backing, the labels, the plastic covering. So everything you need for posters. It also had the exhibit tag template, which shows up like this. And you can just cut them out so you have room for your exhibit tag later. And then has the exhibit guide again, the generic record sheet, which most of our projects go on. There's a few below that you need the manual, other things like that. So that is the website. Pretty easy to use now, comparatively speaking. Okay, are there any questions that anyone has? Anything at all that I can maybe help with, or if you think it'd be useful for someone to know? You guys can talk on here now if you want to give any more suggestions. I think I've covered the basics of what you would need for a poster. If there's nothing else, I'm going to stop it and then we will post it. I will send it to Lindsay to post on Facebook. Could you guys see the website that time? I think I shared it, correct?
Yes, you could.
Okay, perfect. All right, anything else? All right, if not, I'm going to sign off. Thank you guys for being on here and joining me in my first one. Our next one is Thursday, and Terry is going to do sewing via Facebook Live. So we've shared that a few different ways, and we will send again tomorrow probably in an email to let people know to join. We'll do a few more, see if we can get some better turnout to see who we get, and then we'll continue as best we can until we can meet in person again. All right, thank you everyone.